but is faced with a dam which held an ocean of storms. Your mother would still be alive today if you didn't love that band so much.
I woke from a dream last night. I had wings.
Unnecessary funerals and depreciated human life.
You're still watching the East by Southeast Spoken Word Showcase on Channel Austin, and I'm here with Barbara Youngblood Carr.
Yes.
Barbara, that's a really neat piece that you have. I don't know if the camera can get that, but that's a turtle shell?
It's a turtle shell medicine pouch.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, the Native Americans used everything after it died, like buffaloes, turtles, and they clear these out, polish them up, and decorate them with beads, and sometimes they wear them around their legs for rattles when they dance. Or they make a medicine pouch, and there's an opening at the top to put little charms in that you carry around like crystals or something.
Well, that's a very neat piece, very artistic. Now, this necklace kind of reflects, I think, your poetry as well. Would you say that they kind of go hand in hand a little bit?
Yeah, hand in hand, because I have 9 books in my Ancestor series about my Native American Cherokee heritage and growing up in the South and Southwest in Texas. My father grew up in the same valley by Tahlequah, Oklahoma, where the man wrote Where the Red Fern Grows.
Really?
So I like to go back there at least once a year and put my foot in the river and touch my roots when I go back there. I get a lot of material when I go there to write about. And there's a lot of stuff in our books of photographs that were taken in Bastrop Park before it burned, and so that's kind of good to know.
What pieces are you sharing? Anything from the things you mentioned?
I will be sharing one piece at the Mollyfield Cemetery.
Okay.
On the Illinois River in Oklahoma, where my parents are buried.
Okay.
And my great-grandmothers and my grandmother. My grandfather's buried by Houston because he migrated down there when my dad was 20 years old. But
well,
I like to go there and just sit and absorb the things from the cemetery and the river.
I'm looking forward to see
And I do a lot of humor.
the things. Really?
Yeah, because people need to laugh.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you've been cracking me up this whole time. We've been sitting here with the little commentary and stuff like that.
Okay.
You're funny.
Well, I can be.
You are. You are quite
Thank you.
funny. So some of these pieces are going to be funny a little bit? Or?
Well, I'm going to read a short one and a long one that's funny at the end, and then I'll start off with a couple serious pieces accompanied by my friend from Australia, Bob Mudd, with his didgeridoo and his flutes.
Well, I'm looking forward to see the things that you've absorbed and the funny pieces. And so, Austin, Texas, I hope you enjoy this. This is Barbara Youngblood Carr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Serendipity. On a cement curb next to my purple yard orchid garden, I found the small gold and brown butterfly lying on its side, not moving. I thought it was dead. But when I picked it up, it opened its fragile wings ever so slightly. It clutched my finger with its feet and sat upright, wings barely moving from side to side. It did not attempt to fly away, but remained on my finger for a long time, even when I entered our home to get a camera so photos could be taken of its unusual behavior. It was a serendipitous experience for me. Perhaps my small butterfly felt in my pulse a kindred spirit, or could taste the love I have for butterflies, birds, and other beautiful creatures with its feet. I finally placed my hand near a yard orchid's leaves so it could climb back into nature where it belonged. But it will forever be immortal in my memories and in this poem. Spring celebrations for mother, father, grandmothers, others of my ancestors, and myself. At Mollyfield Cemetery near Scraper, Oklahoma, tiny blue-purple violets whisper through freshly cut grass, slip past skinny white onion flowers, and wrap their blooms around the foot of your double tombstone, mother and father. Taller, wild lavender verbenias creep up your cold, smooth marble sides, compete with fresh, fake yellow roses we had just fastened to your marker for Memorial Day. Both flowers, the living and plastic replicas, are beautiful. Just as the day we laid you to rest here many years ago, pink and white dogwoods flourish side by side with wild plum trees. They are once again birthing wide open blossoms that drink hungrily and fill up with sunshine. A mid-morning rain shower mixes with tears and washes dust, pollen, and sadness away. When the sun reappears on this end of April afternoon, fresh green leaves peek out in cheerful blooms to complete all the colors of life, love, and mourning. All in all, this would be a happy place to rest for eternity with nature and one's ancestors. Owls that see in the dark sit in tops of tall trees, their keen eyes scouring the earth for signs of movement. Even those ghosts that dwell here, they call our ancestors' names every night in Mollyfield, and our names too, should we be there keeping watch with old memories. Ode to the discourteousness of many poets at venues. Now for something completely different. I listened to the poems you read. I did not like them all, but I did sit polite and quiet until you read them, y'all. But when you finished reading yours, you left in a short time. Although I'd come to honor you, you left before you heard mine. That's the way it is. Sometimes. Art is all in the eye of the Creator. In one of Austin's finest places where they hang great art, we sat close by one special piece to hear viewers' remarks. It was a medium-sized piece, framed with a nice gold frame, but you'd not guess what it was called until you read its name. Reactions ranged from laughs to silent study with each view. That piece of brown frame canvas was called Coffee, Frame, and Glue. The artist had glued coffee grounds onto a canvas square and hung it in with other art like it was something rare. And if you think that's really art, or you've seen a mirage, I think I've got some masterpieces out in my garage. I have to untangle my mouth to do this one. It has wabbits and stuff like that in it. We all went to my fantasy opera. Me and you and Bugs and Elmer Fudd and Opawa too. Opawa season opened with me and Bugs and Elmer Fudd. The press and media were all there, even Roger Mudd. Our favorite cartoon animals and humans were there, Bud, and Opawa was there with her latest and bestest male stud, as were queen of the quap elite, well-dressed, educated Bugs. Yep, off to the opera everyone did go, including Mr. and Mrs. Waterbug Phineas Woach. Why, they woed up in cosmopolitan style in their quicket-driven Cinderella-style coach. The crowd quietened down as they approached, for they were the queen of Looney Tunes society above reproach. Their gilded wings and bejeweled antenna glittered briefly as they decoached. The orchestra leader was Harry the Fly. He had a baton in each leg or hand, and with his many-faceted eyes, while he was leading the opera band, he could see all the notes and moths and beetles as they came flying by firsthand. Bugs Bunny took the wand away from him for a while, so we could see orchestra leading Bugs Bunny style. But Bugs mostly sat next to his bud, Elmer Fudd, their bow ties, white gloves, and tails most respectable. But close to them sat their nemesis, Daffy Duck, whose behavior was, as usual, despicable. Donald and Minnie Mouse were, as usual, timeless the same. Her favorite white timeless opera aria is from La Boheme. When the stinging stars began to approach, there was Don Giovanni, that singing basso woach, and Miss Piggy, who could hit them high notes for sure. She wore a horned helmet to perform her favorite role. Brunhilde, it was, from Wagner's Die Walküre. Of course, Elmer Fudd had ripped off the Valkyrie's theme when he ran through the woods croaking words of his scheme to kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit. Clara Cluck, that chicken grande dame, soon took center stage and did her most famous operatic aria that showed why she is the wage. Bark, 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 bark. And the Phantom of the Opera also appeared, but with a swoosh of his cape he soon disappeared. And I was there at this special gala in June, humming along 'cause I know all the tunes. I was a-mingling with the elitist woaches and other buffoons, just sitting amongst all them great Looney Tunes. At intermission, me and the audience all gathered out in the lobby and raised a fine wine toast to the stars of this fantasy gala opera opening night, who sang all the scores that we loved the most. When the opera was over and midnight approached, it was home they all went in their quicket-driven, Cinderella-style elegant woach coaches. Mr. and Mrs. Waterberg Finney E.S. Roach. This opening night at the opera with Bugs and Elmer Fudd was the highlight of this social season, so we've all heard. Unless it was the opening of the theater season with a streetcar named Desire, featuring Elmer Fudd in the starring role shouting, "Stella, light my fire."